Hello everyone, my name is Kenzie Hinckley, and this is my presentation on how NCAA eligibility rules are shaping collegiate wrestling. So this is my table of contents. First, I have my introduction, then second, I'm going to talk about roster planning. Third is scholarships and budget, and fourth is recruiting and strategy. So here's my introduction. So, hello everyone, my name is Kenzie Hinckley. I am a sophomore here at Utah Valley University. This is my individual persuasive presentation. I am the social media manager for UVU's wrestling team. So I see a lot of the day-to-day, vibe of a wrestling team, and I actually get to see a lot of the first-hand recruiting and a new change of a roster coming in at the start of a year, and also the effects of a roster throughout the year with transfers and so on. So I'm going to talk about NCAA eligibility rules and how they shape collegiate wrestling. So imagine you are a head coach of a wrestling team, okay? As of 2026, there's new eligibility rules. So what does the future of wrestling programs look like if I'm a head coach and I have spent the past year recruiting new freshmen and going to tournaments and scheduling visits for these kids to come look at our D1 school, and then realizing, oh shoot, eligibility rules are now different, so now my roster is going to look completely different, okay? What does the future of that look like? So I want to talk about roster planning. Why does this change matter so much for the future of wrestling programs? Okay, so first off, there's new eligibility rules in 2026 that get rid of waivers and they get rid of redshirt years. And so pretty much you have 5 years to complete 5 seasons. Instead of before, it was you have 5 years to complete 4 seasons, or you have a redshirt year and you have to file a waiver to get a medical red shirt and things like that. So now injury, if you get injured, you can't get another year. You're stuck with the 5 years, 5 seasons. So now it's up to coaches to really crack down and carefully decide who they recruit, because they also have to decide who they decide to develop long term. So it's just, we're not fighting to get extra years for injury and such. It's you got 5 seasons in 5 years. So athletes stay eligible longer, but that affects roster spots because now I'm keeping and developing wrestlers longer, but I'm also trying to recruit in freshmen. So it's a really tough battle here. I read this article about eligibility rules in wrestling, and I wanted to read this quote off. So it says, the NCAA's approved a new eligibility model for Division I athletes on Tuesday that will allow 5 seasons for competition over a 5-year period. That begins with their full-term enrollment or the academic year following their 19th birthday, whichever occurs first. So people in the 25 to 26 period where they became freshmen, of 25 to 26 the year, can either be grandfathered into the old rules, or if their 19th birthday, whatever comes first, it's a whole thing. So you're either grandfathered into the old rules or you're into the new rules. So it's very much planning which one would benefit you more for those 25 to 26 year freshmen. So that was my visual aid 1, was my quote. Third is I want to talk about scholarships and budgets. If eligibility changes the roster spots and money, what does this mean for schools and the future of wrestling programs? So, the rule changes affect scholarships and budget decisions. A lot of these programs already have very tight and limited money across their budgets. It's a financial business issue, not just a rules issue. So now people are deciding, oh, with my limited budget, what do I do now? You have NIL money and all the things, there's so many things that money contributes to in this business model of not just eligibility, being a rule change, but also we have scholarships that we have to give to these kids, and we have financial aid that we are going to give to these kids, and we have limited money as it is. So this is affecting because now we have people staying longer on our team, or we're recruiting more. It's very deep, even though it seems very surface level, like, oh, 5 years, 5 seasons. It's not. So here is a picture of the current, actually this was last year's roster. So you see how it says, oh, Bridger Ricks is a senior, Geronimo Vera is a freshman, Leslie Rogers is a redshirt freshman. We are now getting rid of the redshirt year. So before, you could take a medically redshirt, or if you didn't compete, you could take a redshirt year. Now that's not a thing. You have 5 seasons in your 5 years. So if you don't compete, you don't get a redshirt year. So I wanted to highlight that because you have people that aren't redshirts, and then you have people that are. And then, since this person is a freshman, they're grandfathered. They have to figure out if they want to be grandfathered into the old rules of the 25 to 26 year, or if they're going to participate in the new rules. That's the unique thing to the rules of them coming out this year. So now I want to talk about recruiting and strategy. So the new eligibility rules are a very big competitive strategy because bigger schools obviously have bigger budgets, and they have more opportunities to recruit people because they want to come to their school because they're such a good school. Maybe they're in the Big 10 instead of the Big 12. Things like that. So programs that can adapt to retain athletes longer and build the stronger lineup, it's very, very beneficial for them. But schools that are smaller have to adjust faster so they can gain an advantage. So this is what I wanted to highlight, the differences of recruiting and budget effects. Coaches have to recruit wrestlers who compete sooner rather than later. You're gonna have injuries, so you'll get to compete later. No, we need you to compete now because you have less time, or you have more time, but it's more crunch time. Is what I would say. Fewer redshirt means it's less time to develop recruits. Teams have to focus on immediate weight class needs instead of, in the future you'll go down to 197 instead of 285. No, we got to do your 197 now. And then budget, there's more money that may go to experienced wrestlers. There's less flexibility in scholarships and roster spots. And then injury can create a bigger financial and roster problem. That's a big one. Big roster problem. To wrap up, I talked about the effect on roster planning, and it's now crunch time, and affecting scholarships and budget decisions because we gotta work with the money we have, and we have to put it to use now, and the effects on recruiting and strategy and how other schools have a bigger advantage. So the new NCAA eligibility rules will shape college wrestling. This will affect how programs recruit wrestlers and how they manage their rosters. And this will change the budget. So this will make wrestling programs adapt to their business strategy from now on. This is my resource of the quote that I used. And then I just want to thank you all for listening to this presentation. I really would appreciate any feedback that you have, because to be honest, I think this is a very important business change that's happening recently. This is very new. That's happened this year in 2026 is when this NCAA eligibility rule has changed, and now it is up to teams to decide what their roster looks like and how they want to go moving forward with the wrestlers that they have that they're gonna, make their starting lineup and who they're gonna recruit. So I just wanted to share that as a good business article and opportunity that has come out recently. So thank you for watching.